So in terms of the different types of hair loss, there are many different types of hair loss. Generally speaking, most hair loss that is seen in men is what we call androgenetic or androgenic hair loss, and that is that it is a genetic form of hair loss. So people inherit genes obviously from their mother and their father. The hair loss that we see, we always used to say it's very much linked to your mother's genes, so the X chromosome that you get from your mother rather than the Y chromosome that you get from your father. It's not quite as simple as that, because there are hundreds of genes that potentially are implicated when it comes to genetic hair loss. But we do know many of the genes that are implicated are on the X chromosome, and so they are inherited from your mother. But there will also be potentially genes that you've inherited from your father that might also be contributing. So that's genetic form of hair loss. There are other potential causes as well. There's a whole list of them, of which I'm not really going to go through, but maybe some of the more common ones. And other things to be thinking about might include something called Alopecia Areata, which is where you get sort of larger, an area, maybe a coin-sized area of hair loss, where the whole area goes. That's an autoimmune condition, where basically the immune system, our body's immune system, attacks the hair follicles, and that's another possible cause. And sometimes vitamin deficiencies and sort of diet-related things can also play a part. Using supplements, we've previously talked about protein shakes and anabolic steroids and how that might contribute sometimes to hair loss. So there are lots and lots of potential causes. If you're worried about hair loss, instead of suffering in silence, you can either get in contact with ourselves to arrange an appointment, and during our consultation we can discuss your concerns, or another option is just to speak to your GP, because one thing they can do is to rule out some of the other potential causes. So they can check your bloods for things like anemia, if you have a low iron count, might affect hair loss, so they can check that. And they can also check your thyroid function, because again, that's another thing. If you have an underactive thyroid gland, that can also contribute to hair loss. So there are a couple of basic, simple blood tests that your GP can do, so it might be worthwhile maybe even speaking to them in the first instance.